the leadership revolution. You're not ready to accept welcome to soft girl era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I want to share something with you that came from a conversation I had with Simone Hill, a visionary leader whose work is transforming how we understand leadership, care, and collective power. Simone Hill is not just making waves, she's reshaping the entire ocean. Her insights are helping us see that when Black women lead with care, rest, and resilience at the center, entire communities are uplifted. What she shared with me during our interview stopped me in my tracks, made me rethink everything I thought I knew about what it means to lead, and reminded me why this soft girl era is not just a trend, it's a revolution. Simone is building bridges where others have built barriers, creating pathways where others have erected walls, and proving that when we invest in Black women's leadership, we don't just change lives, we change the world. So let me ask you something. When you think about leadership, what comes to mind? Strength, right? Toughness, the ability to push through, to keep going no matter what, to never let them see you sweat. We've been taught that leaders are the ones who sacrifice the most, who carry the heaviest loads, who never ask for help. And if you're a Black woman, you know this script all too well. You've been handed the cape, told to wear it with pride, and expected to save everyone, including yourself, without ever taking a breath. But here's what Simone Hill helped me see, and what I want you to really hear today. Black women are not just participating in leadership, they are fundamentally redefining what leadership means by centering care, collective well being, and resilience as core strengths rather than liabilities. Let me say that again. Care is not a weakness. Rest is not a liability. Collective well being is not soft in the way the world has taught us to fear softness. It is the foundation of sustainable, transformative, world changing leadership. This challenges everything we've been told. We've been conditioned to believe that leadership is about individualism, about being the toughest person in the room, about never showing vulnerability. But Black women are showing us a different way. They're proving that leadership rooted in community care, in rest, in persistence, in truth telling leads to more sustainable and inclusive progress, and the world is starting to pay attention. Let me tell you about Mary Sheffield. In 2025, Mary Sheffield made history as Detroit's first Black woman mayor. Detroit, a city that is 324 years old, a majority Black city. And in all that time, not one woman had ever been elected mayor. Not one. Mary Sheffield changed that. But let me be clear, her path was not easy. She faced entrenched gender and racial biases at every turn. Her qualifications were questioned, her appearance was scrutinized. She was held to higher standards than any of her predecessors. People doubted whether she could lead on issues like public safety, not because of her record, but because of who she was. They looked at her and saw someone who didn't fit the mold. They questioned her experience, even though she had spent years in local government, years building relationships, years serving her community. They questioned her toughness, even though she had been fighting for her city her entire career. But Mary Sheffield didn't shrink. She didn't try to become what they expected. She didn't put on a mask or soften her voice or change her approach to make them comfortable. She leveraged her deep community ties, her local leadership experience, and a problem solving approach rooted in resilience and collective action. She didn't lead like the men before her, she led like herself. And her victory didn't just break a centuries old gender barrier, It doubled the number of Black women mayors in major U.S. cities compared to a decade ago. Her leadership is reshaping how cities address complex challenges, demonstrating that centering care and resilience can produce tangible results for diverse communities. She's proving that when you lead with your whole self, when you refuse to conform to outdated models, when you center the voices and needs of the people you serve, you create real change. Mary Sheffield's story is not an anomaly, it's a signal. It's a sign that something is shifting. Black women are rising into leadership not by mimicking the old models, but by creating new ones. And the world is better for it. Now, let's talk about the Highland Project. This is a coalition of Black women leaders who launched something called Meet Me at the Highland, a national gathering space for reflection, truth telling, and collective leadership. These women were facing ongoing economic uncertainty, job insecurity, and the erasure of their priorities from mainstream policy agendas. They were tired, they were overlooked, they were underinvested in. But instead of waiting for someone else to create the space they needed, they built it themselves. The Highland Project centered rest, care, and shared investment as leadership principles. They created new models that prioritize well being and legacy building. And the outcomes? These women empowered each other to take ownership of their economic futures and leadership journeys. They fostered a sense of belonging and collective power. They influenced national conversations about prosperity, leadership, and economic justice for Black women. And they proved something that Simone Hill emphasized in our conversation. When Black women thrive, entire communities are uplifted. This is the heart of the soft girl era. It's not about opting out of leadership, it's about redefining it. It's about saying, I will lead, but I will not do it at the expense of my peace, my rest, my joy, or my well being. It's about understanding that care is not a distraction from the work. Care is the work. The Highland Project didn't just create a space for Black women to gather, they created a movement, they created a blueprint. They showed us that when you center rest and care and collective empowerment, you don't weaken your leadership, you strengthen it. You don't lose momentum, you build sustainability. You don't abandon your purpose, you protect it. But let's be honest, the world is not always ready to receive this kind of leadership. In 2025, Black women faced the highest rates of job insecurity and layoffs among all racial and gender groups. 42% of Black women reported job insecurity or layoffs. One in three Black women with college degrees were denied promotions or new roles despite being qualified. And as corporations roll back DEI initiatives following political pressure, the roles held by Black women were disproportionately cut. Progress that had been made since 2020 was being erased. This is the reality. Black women are leading, innovating, and transforming, but they are doing it in a system that is actively working against them. They are being held to higher standards, questioned more harshly, and given fewer resources, and yet they are still showing up. They are still leading. They are still creating. How? By forming networks, by launching new entrepreneurial ventures, by advocating for workplace protections and mentorship and outside traditional corporate structures. Organizations like She Works California stepped in to provide direct support for upskilling and job placement. Black women didn't wait for the system to change. They built new systems. They created new pathways. They refused to let setbacks define them. And this is what Simone Hill wants us to understand. Despite setbacks like layoffs and the rollback of DEI initiatives, Black women continue to lead with vision and courage, proving that investing in their leadership benefits everyone. This is not just about Black women, this is about all of us. When we invest in Black women's leadership, when we center their voices, when we support their visions, we all win. So, what does this mean for you? What does this mean for those of us who are listening, who are tired, who are ready to drop the cape, who are stepping into our own soft girl era, it means that you are not alone. It means that the way you want to lead, the way you want to live, the way you want to prioritize rest and care and joy is not only valid, it is necessary. It is the future. Leadership models centered on care, rest, and collective empowerment are not only viable, they are essential for building resilient organizations and communities. This is not a nice idea. This is not a feel good sentiment. This is the truth. And the evidence is all around us. Mary Sheffield is leading Detroit with care and resilience. The Highland Project is building economic futures rooted in rest and shared investment. Black women entrepreneurs are creating businesses that center well being and community. This is happening right now. And here's what I want you to take with you today: Black women are driving innovation and progress in business, politics, and community leadership, even as they face systemic barriers and higher standards than their peers. They are not waiting for permission, they are not asking for approval. They are leading, and they are changing the world. So here's my challenge to you: not a question, but a challenge, a demand, really. How will you use your influence, whether in your business, organization, or community, to intentionally invest in and amplify Black women's leadership, knowing that when Black women thrive, everyone benefits? This is not rhetorical. This is not something you think about and forget tomorrow. This is your moment to decide. Will you continue to uphold the old models of leadership that center toughness and individualism and burnout? Or will you join the revolution that Black women are leading? The revolution that centers care, rest, collective well being, and resilience? Because here's the truth: the soft girl era is not about being weak, it's about being wise. It's about understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. It's about knowing that rest is not laziness, it is resistance. It's about recognizing that when you prioritize your peace, you are not abandoning your purpose, you are protecting it. Simone Hill reminded me that Black women have always led. They have always been the ones holding communities together, creating pathways, building futures. But now the future depends on listening. It depends on investing. It depends on amplifying. It depends on us choosing to center the voices and visions of Black women, not as an afterthought, but as the foundation. So as you walk away from this moment, I want you to carry this with you. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to lead in a way that honors your whole self, not just the parts the world has deemed acceptable. And when you do, when you step into your soft girl era with intention and courage, you are not just changing your life, you are changing the world. The revolution is soft, the revolution is rest, the revolution is care, the revolution is collective, the revolution is Black women leading the way, and the revolution is waiting for you to join. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. What will you do with this truth? What will you build with this knowledge? What will you dismantle with this power? The choice is yours. But know this: when you choose to invest in Black women's leadership, when you choose to amplify their voices, when you choose to center their visions, you're not just supporting them. You are investing in a future that works for all of us, a future rooted in care, in rest, in resilience, in collective power, a future that is not only possible but inevitable if we have the courage to build it together. This is your invitation. This is your moment. This is your revolution. Step into it. Lead with softness. Lead with care. Lead with rest. Lead like Black women have been showing us all along, and watch the world transform.